fun.
Welcome to a new episode of the RPG, guys. My name is Gonzo. I am going to be running the new one for More Than Dice. Today we have got a whole new crew that's going to be joining us. As you know, the Dawn of the Harbinger episodes are done, and we are joined with 3 of the recurring cast members for that, and 3 new people. So we have a large party. Today, we are actually going to do a online The One Ring character game building. This is going to be our episode 0, where we're all going to build our characters together so people can talk about stuff. But before we do that, we also got to do our cool thing of thanking all of our sponsors for, helping us out and doing everything. We want to thank Muson Minis, Metalhead Minis. We got to thank Creature Caster for helping us out, Tectonic Crest Studios, all those people for making sure that this goes through, and we get to continue to make more episodes and put them online for y'all. So we have some recurring and some new people joining us. Let's go ahead. When I call your name, tell me who you are, what you're doing, how do I know you? Just give me a little background so people know who you are. Because hopefully this one will last as long or longer than Dawn of the Harbinger. Becca.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I participated in the Dawn of the Harbinger campaign, and I'm excited to be playing in this one too. I have a YouTube channel of my own called Arcane Assist, where we play a game called War Machine, and I manage a board game store in Canada.
Jackie.
Hello, I'm Jackie. I'm previously from the Dawn of Harbinger campaign as well. I don't have many plugs, but I do have an Instagram for some low-tier fan art at Jacqueline Illustrates. You can see lots of low-grade fan art there.
Max.
Hi, I'm Max. I was Gand in Dawn of the Harbinger. I really don't have any plugs because my name's even hiding from my students right now, so I will pass to the next person.
Mizzy.
Hi, I'm Mizzy. I'm one of Gonzo's friends in real life. Just
You
here to
admit
have
that?
fun.
You admit that? Mizzy is also, by the way, working a lot of digital artwork for the Warfare Weekend stuff. So you'll be seeing some of her stuff on the t-shirts and coins and dice and all this other stuff. FYI. So if you need digital work, she's someone you can talk to also.
I make pretty things.
Make pretty things. Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris Miller. Met Gonzo in the early 90s when he was stationed at Grand Forks Air Force Base, and my dad was too. We played up to 6 nights a week with 3 different role-playing games, and the first time Gonzo GM'd, I kicked him out of my house. So he's invited me back, but 30 years later. So
If he kicks you out of your own house at this point, it'll be an adventure.
he came back and we had a lot of good games, and I still have my characters for those games.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Chris and I, we actually reconnected because he was friends with one of our friends. And I was like, wait, is this Chris from... They're like, yeah. And we reconnected, and Chris and I have been around. I mean, y'all want to talk about gaming sessions? We pretty much... It was almost 4 or 5 days of gaming.
I was the only civilian, and we had a bunch of first-term airmen in the Air Force, and we played all the time.
Oh, yeah. All the time.
5, 6, 7 days a week.
Yeah, nonstop. I still tell stories of our gaming sessions of stuff going on there. And our last one is Josh.
Hey, I'm Josh. I judge a whole lot of War Machine. I go to a lot of events. I've judged the Invitational for the last, 10 years.
Yeah. That's about it. All right, so guys, we're going to talk about the One Ring. I know that I decided I wanted to do the One Ring. One, because it's a very good and simple type system. It's not very complicated, but it lends a lot to storytelling and lends a lot to doing a bunch of things. We are going to do one of the campaigns in the book to start off, just like normal. We will start off doing, we'll create our characters. We'll start off with one adventure, and then at the end of that adventure, we'll come back and go, hey, does anybody want to change anything? You want to tweak their character a bit, and after they do that, then we'll start the actual full-fledged campaign and go from there. But what we're going to do is, of course, do our episode 0, where we all create our characters, and we're going to be using this as an online one. I'm going to create one also, just so I can walk through it, make a cool NPC that may show up from time to time and harass the crap out of, play along with y'all. So
Causes emotional distress.
Is he going to be our Gary Oak?
I would never cause any of my players emotional distress or cause them any characters to weep, stutter, or cry. That's just how I am.
That is a
That's a
lie.
lie.
I know, you killed me
Full-face
multiple
lie.
times in one.
I only killed one of your characters.
He almost killed you multiple times in one session.
Wow.
Well, not my fault.
Spoilers for folks who haven't seen Dawn of the Harbinger yet.
Watch all of Dawn of the Harbinger before watching this, solely so our references aren't spoilers.
So other than that, we're going to be using the asrapsy.es tour sheet.1. Everybody should have that open right now, and we're going to create a character. First thing you're going to do is go, of course, create new character, and should pop up a menu of your culture. I want everybody to kind of describe what they are thinking of doing, because there's a bunch of different things in here, on different ways you want to do stuff. Myself, I'm just going to create an NPC for y'all, and I am definitely going to be doing an elf. If I can find... I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm definitely going to choose an elf. Becca, what have you chosen for your culture?
I mean, I thought about this a lot. Talked about it with Jackie a little bit. We built a little bit of storytelling. I've got a bit of a vision for my character. I'm going to play a high elf of Rivendell, which is one of the sort of more advanced race options or culture options. It's recommended that you don't have like a party full of them, or that you do it with some consent from your group. And I talked about the group ahead of time about this particular choice. The High Elves of Rivendell are the people who sort of the immediate following of Elrond, the people who live or have lived in Rivendell. They're the older elves, the sort of longer ones, the people who have not yet gone west to the Grey Havens or left this land for another time, but are kind of like thinking about it, maybe. So that's the culture that I'm picking. How much more information do you want?
That's about it.
Here?
That's about it. We're going to go
Awesome.
step by step. That way everybody can do it, and that way everybody can talk about it. Jackie, what did you decide? What culture did you decide to break?
So, as far as the character creation process goes, I haven't really entirely figured out if culture is something that we pre-select, but I'll tell you about my character. My character is a Shire Hobbit with a pre-existing relationship with Becca's character. Hobbits love the earth and everything the earth creates and provides. The earth provides many precious minerals, gems, and rocks. My character is going to be a bit of a geologist, cartographer, a person who's interested in discovering more land that can be used for fruitful prospecting for farming and other hobbity-like endeavors. Like some good Toby fields, maybe, might be able to find some good shale for that.
Are you on the webpage to choose this?
Right, yeah. I'm going through my character creation. I'm on background right now.
Okay, well, don't go too further. Don't go too far.
Okay.
That way we can all work on this together. Max, what did you decide to play? What culture did you decide to go with?
I'm going to play a writer of Rohan.
Okay.
Sweet.
Anything you want to say about your character? Describe it. Give some info.
I'm right now thinking about someone who is probably at one point part of an Outrider team and probably took up minstrelry or folklore storytelling type stuff as a way of entertaining on the long trips away from the halls.
Okay. And just so people know that in Lord of the Rings, song and storytelling is very important to the world and to your survival. Mizzy, what culture did you decide to pick?
I think I'm going to go with the Bjornings because I like the description that they had. I like the description that they had where they protect those who can't, and they seem like really cool people. Creature things, yeah.
Creature things.
Creature
they're like-
things.
They're basically
Whatever you want to call them.
humans, and they like bears.
They're
Yeah.
living. They're living beings. It counts for something.
All right, Chris, what culture did you decide to go with?
Well, I've always loved the hobbits from way back, but I saw the wild hobbits, and I thought those would be a different change from the prosperous living in their burrow hobbits of the Shire and even Bree. So I thought I would give them a shot, kind of be curious about the wild and explorer, but probably hasn't gone too far in his life just yet.
Okay. And Josh.
I will be playing a dwarf of the Lonely Mountain, a survivor of the smog attack with a vendetta to pay.
All right. After you choose your culture, you choose your weapon skill pack. And you just choose one and you go to the next one. Does anybody want to talk about theirs, or anybody want to do a description or want to know? I can see Becca's already. Everybody's got their hands raised. Let's just go down the line. Becca.
I have a question for the group. I don't know if anyone's read much about how the combat system works in this. TLDR, a certain amount of people have to be in kind of a fighting in melee stance for some people in the group to do a ranged thing. I don't want to pick a weapon skill package that focuses on using a bow, even though elves are pretty good at that, unless most people are picking one that's focused on a melee option.
Oh, just so people know, there is a fighting stance in this game for people that don't know how this works and people on listening. The One Ring has a fighting stance system, and so many people have to stand in front of the people using bows for them to be effective and be able to use stuff. I did print off the sheet, and I will, if everybody is wanting it, I will print off miniatures for everybody and put that on screen so people can see it, so they can put their characters in their stances.
That's really cool.
So
Sweet. Yeah, totally.
I will make that after we kind of test this out. I
Wait.
will make this.
I want my miniature to be Baby Yoda.
No, you can't have Baby Yoda. It has to be a hobbit of some sort. So I'll try to find a hobbitsy type miniature.
Hobbit with
for
an
you.
unusual skin condition,
Yeah.
large ears,
Large
wears
ears.
robes mostly.
Sucking
Yeah,
from a
that
broth.
hobbit.
Well, if her hobbit's Yoda,
Hobbit
then mine's
Yoda.
Gizmo.
How will you be able to tell them apart?
I'll be dirtier, she'll be cleaner, I don't know.
I don't have an eye patch.
But there will be there is a stance, because this is how you figure out your target numbers of what you have to hit to get to the things. But I will definitely print that off, use my secondary camera that y'all will get to see, and I will move the miniatures up so you can have that. And that way, if we put this on YouTube or do it live, people can see that stance, and also use that secondary camera for maps. Because traveling is a very big part of this game too. And you have to fulfill roles in that. Which I'm guessing, Becca, you've read quite a bit of this too, right?
Yes.
Yes. I know you, and you delve pretty deep like me.
I'm not going to be like a rules layer. I'm not going to insist on something. If we get something wrong, I'll like mention it later and we can come back to it and fix it. But like, I want to tell the story. That's what I'm here for.
Correct.
But I also don't want to let the mechanics hold me back. And for me, that means I want to know enough about them to be able to make choices that are story motivated.
Correct. But I mean, there is a lot of things that go on with this game. Traveling is a big part of it, and you can get messed up by traveling.
So my question is real simple. I guess basically raise your hand or say something if you think you're planning to focus your character on using a ranged weapon.
I had not decided either way. So
Look
Okay.
at your choices because you should have like 2 starting packages.
Yeah, you have 2 choices. Yeah.
With the general consensus that most people don't seem to be picking bows, I'm going to be an elf who's good with a bow. Very against type.
Jackie?
Sorry, I took out my Invisalign. I'm going to be using a short sword. And were we talking about our backgrounds?
Well, we were just talking about we haven't chosen our specialty. We're just going through the character sheet step by step.
Mine's smoking and tunneling.
Oh, so you're going to go already on that one?
You're too far, Jackie.
You're
You're way
too far.
too many steps ahead.
I'm
Go back
sorry.
a couple.
There's that ADD going out.
Yeah. We picked the culture. Now we're picking weapon skill packages. You got 1 or 2 options.
Oh, I'm taking the one with the little short sword, not the bow.
Okay.
Sweet.
Max, what are you planning on going with?
Right now, I'm planning on spears, sword, and dagger.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Since I get a free horse with being a rider of Rohan, I might as well pick the thing that's good from the back of a horse.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no. Long spear.
Yep.
Seems pretty decent.
All right.
Good from the back of a horse. I'd like to buy purchase a weapon that's good for the back of a horse, please.
Mizzy, what type of weapon package are you planning on choosing?
Well, my choices are 2 axes, a spear, and a dagger, or a great spear, which is 2-handed, an axe, or a dagger. And I'm not sure which is better.
So, there's a lot of... sorry, Gonzo, did you
No,
want to...
it's fine. Go ahead.
There's a lot of different things about like weapons that are better at like doing sort of a critical thing, like basically like a called shot where they inflict more damage, and weapons that have like more potential to do attacks with. Some weapons like are more effective at different kinds of things. But at this stage, I would just really focus on picking the one that you're most excited about. The one that's a 2 in that list is the one that you'll get 2 initial starting dice in, and weapon dice are very expensive to buy with experience points, so it's often a big limiter. So that'll really be your primary weapon, your weapon of choice.
I'm going to go with the great spear.
Okay.
Great spears are badass.
Yeah, they've got some good injury damage on it. Pretty hefty on the encumbrance, but they're pretty good. Chris, what do you think you're about going?
Well, being a wild hobbit and probably doing a lot of hunting, I'm going to go with the bow as well.
Okay. All right.
Good choice.
And Josh.
I will be your shield and your axe.
Okay.
Love that.
After you choose that, it should come up to your specialties, and you will choose 2 of these specialties.
I'd kind of like to know what other people are taking so that I don't overlap too much
Okay.
with my second choice.
Go ahead and talk
Does
amongst
everyone-
yourselves.
My
Sorry.
first
Smoking
choice is
tunneling.
going to be horsemanship because that is unique to the Rohan culture.
That makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Does everyone know how specialties and traits work?
No.
I read
Okay.
a little bit on that.
Go
The
for it.
TLDR is specialties and traits give you one of 3 things. They can be on a relatively simple test, a reason that you just get to say, like, does it make sense that I auto pass here because this is kind of my thing? You know, you've got horsemanship, we're all riding a bunch of horses. It's mildly difficult to ride horses in a particular moment. You know, Gonzo says, okay, everyone has to make a riding test here, or, you know, bad will happen. And you can say, like, horsemanship trait, and Gonzo will be like, yeah, that makes sense. You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
The second thing traits can do is they can give you an opportunity to be allowed to make a test when everyone else would otherwise be expected to automatically fail. He could say something like, you're completely ambushed by a band of trolls who jump out at you from the rocks. The horses spook, you're all thrown aside. And you can be like, horsemanship trait? Can I see if maybe I can make a test to just like stay in control of the horse? And he'd be like, yeah, it's difficult, but you're pretty exceptional at that, so maybe it'll work. And the third thing is a reason to sort of like do something very in character for that trait and get an experience point. So a moment where the GM will be like, that was very, you know, Rider of Rohani in that moment. You charged out into battle on your horseback with the spear, even though you were doing so down a tunnel into a mountain. Like, that's cool. That's just like something nobody else would normally do from a horse, but it really does speak to my character sense for you. Here's an advancement point. That's what traits do, one of those 3 things.
Okay.
So there's no mechanical rules associated with traits, they're just words that we use for those contexts.
Makes sense.
So
I'm interested in what other people are taking, though. So,
Becca, what are you thinking about taking?
I am taking as my first trait Smithcraft. Jackie and I talked a little bit about a relationship that we built together, meeting each other at like a farmer's market-esque experiences, her trading me fun gems that she'd found, me making them into like neat bracelets. I think my character is of the sort of high elven tradition of like great projects of craft, the idea that like making something that's truly beautiful or a kind of representation of the world is a way that like your life and your existence in Middle Earth can be made meaningful through the work of art. So she's very invested in making things, especially with metal and especially with precious gemstones, sort of set into things. So I'm taking Smithcraft.
Okay. Jackie?
I am taking smoking and tunneling. Tunneling seems relevant, and smoking also seems very relevant. That was it.
Max, you may skip you so you can hear what everybody else is going with?
yes, please.
Okay. Mizzy?
I've got it narrowed down to Anduin lore, Beast lore, or Mountaineer.
Solid choices.
No.
I was thinking of taking beast lore and fishing, probably.
And it is good. Lord of the Rings does, the One Ring does require that you should be kind of a diverse party, but stacking up on things is not a bad. So that's not too big of a deal if one or two people have the same thing. Chris, what about you?
I was talking beast lore and fishing, most likely.
Okay. Josh?
I think I'm going to follow the dwarven tradition and go Smithcraft and trading.
Okay.
Nice. We could develop a crafting rivalry.
Dwarven versus Elven.
You are in the dark, doing it underground a lot. You've been doing it for a little bit of time. We've been doing it for thousands of years in the light and under the stars. I'm not saying which one's better or not, but other people are.
Mine's harder.
Oh, I love all of this.
With that in mind, I'm going to make my second trait Elven lore, because being the only elf in the group, I feel like that makes sense.
All right. Max, what did you decide on?
I'm looking at either minstrelsy or storytelling.
Up to you.
Does anyone in the party have any?
I like minstrelsy, just for my...
That's the one I like too.
I mean, that seems
that's
badass,
what I'm going to go with.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Since everybody's pretty much chosen, or you may got any more questions, we can go to the next thing. Next thing is background. This is where you choose kind of how you grew up or what your life is on the, before you went adventuring and what you've done. So what you're going to do is you're going to choose one of them, and then you're going to choose two smaller groupings underneath it. And this has to do with like your favorite skills. So just kind of look it over. Think about which one kind of fits your character a bit, and go from there. If you need... Now, the one thing I do like about this, if you mouse over choose the two traits, you can click the question mark, and it'll tell you what that is, and not give you like rule details, but kind of give you a direction with what's going on. So if you choose like swift, it says you move swiftly and are quick to take action. If you really want to know what it does stat-wise, you can, but this is kind of more of, figuring out what your character actually is. And like I said, this isn't all set in stone. This is, once we figure it out, we do our first playthrough session of our, what are we going to call it? I don't remember what we called it last time. Our prologue?
Yeah.
So I feel like Jackie's been on background since we started here. So I'm really interested to see what she picked.
Oh, I have been, and I've been thinking about them.
Yeah.
For my first, my background firstly is going to be of Tukish blood. And under my two choices under there, my first will be small. I stand the height of, or half the height of a grown man, so I'm easily overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
And with my ability to sneak away and be unseen, I've chosen to also be reckless. Which means I often do not think about the consequences of my action, which I feel like I'm just making Jackie in real life at this point. I'm okay with that, so I won't even have to roleplay.
Okay. Becca.
So I picked Heir of Gondolin, which is the sort of tradition in the great elven smiths of years gone by. So this is somebody who's trying to recapture those arts that have been lost to the lands gone by. The expectation is we'll never create the beauty that those ancient elven smiths did, but that doesn't prevent us from trying, and that there's something beautiful in that ambition. With both of those things in mind, I'm picking traits that really make sense for somebody who, would spend all of her time in a forge beautifully and delicately making things if she didn't feel like there was need and purpose to see the world so that could be reflected in her art. So I've chosen keen-eyed, someone who pays attention to those details in a very real way, and also patient.
Okay.
What's your favorite skill?
Craft.
Okay.
All right. Max, what are you thinking about choosing?
I'm kind of stuck between Outrider and Minstrel of the Golden Hall. More because of... They both seem like they would fit my character. And so I'm trying to think about, how would this character fit into the party?
Okay.
So, Jackie, what's your favorite skill?
My favorite skill. Sorry, I'm often unmuting myself. Where do you see skill at?
Directly underneath the title of your background, it has a little thing that says favorite skill.
Oh, you're right. My favorite skill is to explore.
Okay.
Mizzy, what are you thinking about?
Lightfoot, for sure.
But what grouping did you choose?
Forthright and Swift.
And
Nice.
then what was the full, was it background? Because you choose one.
Lightfoot.
Oh, okay.
Their favorite skill?
Stealth.
Okay.
All right. Chris.
I decided to, finish off the trifecta of all my gathering skills, and I took Healing Hands, where I go out and gather the herbs as I was taught by my grandmother. My favorite skill would be healing, and I took Eager and Trustworthy.
Ah, that's
Nice.
so beautiful. You're naive. I love it. It's so great. I guess you're not. No, you're not trusting. You're trustworthy. Yeah, you have kind eyes.
Yeah,
that's what
trusty. It says you're reliable and faithful. Your word is a valid pledge.
Nice.
Okay. Josh.
I kind of already spoiled mine a little bit earlier, but my background is a lesson in revenge. My favorite skill is battle, and my two traits are hardy and vengeful.
Okay. And then, sorry. Becca, what do you want to say?
Oh, I just, Josh, it already sounds like you and I are going to have a great time here. I'm really excited.
You guys have a preference between skill and between travel and song.
Someone needs to have travel.
I plan to invest in travel.
Okay.
But if you are a minstrel, I feel like you should have song.
I am going to be Minstrel of the Golden Hall, and I am going to be bold and true-hearted.
All right. Everybody should be on the next one, which is the calling. This is your calling. They do give you a little suggested, which is the darker border around it, but it doesn't mean that it is 100% you have to do it. It's just that's the one kind of where it is. And it shows your favorite skill groups and also your additional traits and your weakness to the shadow, which I will be using against you, pretty much is what it is. This is where something happens and the shadow grabs you. No, okay. Whatever
Sorry.
whatever the shadow grabs you, I go off your shadow of weakness. So you just have to kind of figure and go from that. Becca, did you choose a calling?
I think in the interest of party diversity, there are 6 of us and there are 6 callings. It might be worth seeing where other people are at.
That's right.
And,
What are you thinking about?
Well, I've got a lot of options here because I feel like my character's name, by the way, is Tanodus or Tenodus. It means craft or smith or woman. I feel like I've got a lot of options because I've got like hundreds and hundreds of years of life on probably most of the party members. So I could see having fought in the wars and being a slayer of some kind. I could see being a wanderer because I'm sort of called to see things. I could see being a leader because I believe in kind of like inspiring people and the sort of the need of the elves to kind of rally the less shorter lived races to the sort of great causes that exist in the world. My desire to sort of find beautiful things and turn them into great works of art makes it a natural sort of treasure hunter, but also the kind of work that I'm doing, the thing that I'm invested in, the sort of discovery of the great secrets of the natural world and turning them into the great sources of beauty in the tradition of thousands of years old is not unscholarly in its behavior. And then I think all the folks of Rivendell are in some ways wardens, sort of protectors or people in the world. That's probably the one I'm least sold on, but any of those really make sense for me, so I can be pretty flexible here.
Okay. Jackie, what are you thinking? She unmutes herself again.
When you're ready. No rush.
I have a problem with overmuting. As a person with a scholarly background, I have found the world that is understood is much less scary. Before I took a call to adventure, my Shire folk would describe me as inquisitive and curious. I find that spreading knowledge to others helps me define myself.
Okay.
Love it.
Max?
Wanderer is what I'm looking at. All of the minstrelsy and the stuff is there as a way of staving off the shadow weakness of the Wanderer, which is wandering madness.
Gotcha. Mizzy, what are you thinking about?
Warden. It's got a favorite skill group of personality survival with an additional trait of shadow lore, and my shadow weakness is lure of power.
Yep.
Love it.
Chris?
I'm still kind of balanced between scholar and wanderer at the moment. I like the scholar the most, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is going to
But
be
it seems
need
to
for
work
that
with-
stuff.
It seems to work well with the beast lore and the herbal healing and all that stuff.
Okay. And I'm going to go with Josh is choosing Slayer.
Yep, I am the Slayer of the group. Favorite skill groups are movement and personality. I have a lot of different lures I can choose as a trait, but obviously dragon lore is my choice here. And then my shadow weakness is Curse of Vengeance.
Gotcha. All right. Once everybody's gone to that and you've chosen what you like, you go to your favorite skills. And these are ones that'll be, favored to help you out so you can, help when needed. And you choose 2 of them. If anybody want to just casually talk about what you have and what you're thinking about, that way you can kind of make your, give a better diverse party.
Going to quickly come back to the calling for a moment. Based on what everyone else has picked, I'm going to go with leader. My additional trait gets to be leadership, and my shadow weakness is the lure of power.
All right.
I like it. I'll tell you guys my skills because I've already passed this point. My skills. My first skill is awareness. I'm quick to find things sticking out of the ordinary. I've always been very good at chess, and I'm also very good at this. My other skill is search. it seems redundant, but searching allows me to better understand the layouts of the libraries or just try to find information as quickly as possible.
Okay. Max?
I think I'm taking Riddle and Explore.
Okay. Mizzy?
I don't know yet.
Okay. Chris, you got an idea?
Thinking craft for one, for doing healing poultices, cooking food, all those things.
Okay.
And then maybe either awareness or search. I'm kind of bouncing back between those two.
Okay. Josh?
So I have skills that are kind of like they are necessary to the group, but I don't want to overlap with anybody too much. So my options are athletic, travel, stealth, awe, inspire, and persuade. I think I'm leaning towards awe and persuade. Awe being the kind of like intimidation factor, and then persuade just for the sales aspect of being a dwarf.
Sorry, I was talking to the dog. One of them got stuck in here.
I like that a lot. I'm probably also going to take Awe, and Lore as my choices, but I feel like there's lots of room for there to be multiple characters who have that desire to kind of make an entrance or really present themselves, and it seems like we might be doing that against each other from time to time.
And I decided on awareness over search. I figured living in the wild, that would be something to be aware of the surroundings.
I think I'm going to go with Explore and Hunting.
Hunting is very good, especially for traveling. Because someone's going to have to find the food for everybody.
Yes.
And there is checks for hunting, too. All right, next one is favorite attributes. You'll choose a favorite attribute that gets a +2, +3, +1. And you can only choose one for each. So you'll have to figure it out which one you like. If you like I said, it still has a question mark over it, so you can kind of understand what each one of them does. So you'll know. And you just choose one in each section.
Do we want to know how favored skills work versus not?
If you want to talk about that, I am actually going to grab a bite to eat while you're doing that. So I'm going to mute myself for a minute.
If you're in a situation where you can move this window slightly and also see the common skills on the sheet before, it will at this point have underlined all of the skills that you've picked as favored skills. For example, on my list, there's 3 columns here. I can see awe, song, and craft are all underlined. Song because of the Elven people's tradition, craft because of the Heir of Gondolin that I took, and awe as the one that I selected as being a leader. I also have lore underlined. What that means is when you spend a point of hope, which is the consumable resource in this game, you get to add your attribute bonus to that thing. So the first column, you add body as an attribute bonus. The middle column, you add heart. And the third column, you add wits. And each of those reflect like a different way to do a thing. Like if you want to be kind of like convincing of people of a thing, or, put forward your sort of personality. The body way to do that is with awe, to be inspiring, intimidating, beautiful, terrifying. The heart way to do that is, literal inspiration, to be kind of exciting and delightful and the sort of person that people are like, oh, you. And then persuade is to use your mind and your wits and your intelligence to do those things. So all of those things you're going to be differently good at. And really, it's not this doesn't come up for checks very often at all. It's just if you want to just like definitely succeed at something after you fail, that you can add your stat by spending a point. The way favorite attributes work is you pick one of those skill types to be +1, +2, or +3, and the underlined versions get the higher number. So in my example, I'm going to pick body as my +3 one, which means my regular body stat of 7 is treated as a body stat of 10 when I'm adding it to an awe, song, or craft check, because those are my favorite ones. Does that make sense? It's kind of confusing, but I feel like it becomes really intuitive once you do it a few times.
Okay.
It was a good explanation, I think.
This one we kind of don't have to worry about talking about it. You can just choose it and go to the next one.
Okay.
And you can kind of just look at your stats and go with what you think is going to work with you. It's Josh. Oh.
Pardon me. I'm sorry, folks.
Is that, Becca, you got a cold?
Just a bit. Some sniffles. You can probably hear it in my voice a little.
Once you figure that out, you'll go to the next thing. You'll go to Valor and Wisdom. And since I'm going to take a bite of food, Becca, you want to talk about Valor and Wisdom does?
Okay, so Valor and Wisdom both have mechanical in-game effects that are important. Neither one of them is going to be like so one thing or the other thing. The choice is very important about that part here. The real decision you get to make is between getting a reward or a virtue. A reward is a tangible item of some kind, and it's specific to your culture. Virtues are half specific to your culture and half sort of generic virtues that are available to everyone. And they're typically like a cool racial trait or something. Both of these things have a specific mechanical effect. So unlike traits, they're not like evocative storytelling things that you can call upon. They're like a specific thing that does something. I can only speak to my culture. That's the one I've read. But like one of the rewards is I can take like a lesser ring of power, like not like one of the 9 or one of the 3, but like, something made in that style that's similar, that now that the one ring isn't in the possession of Sauron, as an elf, I've inherited this as part of my family line. And I use it from time to time to get some kind of minor boon or to supplement my own power. Virtues are things like I could take an extra skill, or I could take, a specific elven ability, like that gives me a bonus to a type of check, or an extra kind of success that can only be described as elven magic in certain circumstances. So this is mechanical, and it's an item or a trait. If people are D&D players, think about this like you get like a kind of medium level magic item or a feat. It's kind of the choice here. I've elected to pick a virtue. I have one in mind.
Oh.
I'll tell you what I've selected. I've selected small folk because I particularly small of the small. It helps me parry in close combat. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. What's short for a hobbit? A little hiblet? I'm a hiblet.
Hiblet.
Oh no, I think I'm just making frisbees again. I gotta stop.
Yeah, but Frisbee, this one doesn't have a lightsaber.
If you die, I'm going to be so sad.
I'm gonna laugh.
Don't worry, this
You're not
frisbee is
standing
literate.
for anywhere.
Air quotes
Just
of
don't even let me
die.
go to the bathroom alone. Just always be near me.
I have chosen to take one of the virtues. I'm taking old songs and children's tales. When you succeed in a roll using Inspire, Travel, Insight, Healing, Riddle, or Lore, check your song rating. If it is equal or higher to the rating of that skill you used, upgrade the quality of the roll by 1 level.
Ooh.
Additionally,
Sweet.
if you roll the Rune of Gandalf, you gain 1 point of hope. You may gain a maximum of 1 point of hope per session this way.
Nice.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
And it goes with my whole songs
Song.
thing that I've kind of built.
If everybody wants to,
That's-
say what they've got, that's fine. Once you've chosen it, that's cool.
I have taken artificer of Aragion, which is the ancient craft of the elven smiths of Aragion. This is an unusual trait in that you can take it multiple times and it has different levels. The sort of level 1 version of it gives you the evaluate treasure ability, which there's a thing during the fellowship step where you can sort of make a magical treasure roll to sort of figure things out about some stuff that you might have found. I get to roll an additional success die, and it doesn't cost experience to use that success die because I know the sort of secret runes and symbols employed by the old artificers to mark their work.
And so everybody knows there is different phases to this game. There's tribal phases, there's adventuring phases, and there is also, I don't know what that was, there is also the fellowship phase where you take a break and chill out and get rid of the shadow that you have on, or something of that nature. So there's those different things that you have to do. So gaining hope back in the fellowship phase is important too. And once you click that and you choose it, just let everybody know. That way everybody can kind of chill out and see what you got. Jackie, did you choose something?
I just picked small.
Oh, that's
I
right.
did pick small, yeah.
Okay. Max, what did you choose?
I picked the old stories and children's songs or whatever. Old songs and children's stories.
I'm keen to know what Josh picked.
I took a more greedy path. I went for a reward. Something that I had actually kind of talked to Gonzo about earlier. It turns out it works out because one of the rewards is something called reinforced. It says the shield structure is reinforced, possibly with a metal rim or larger iron boss, letting the wearer parry blows with greater ease. It basically just raises the parry bonus by 1. And the shield can't be smashed.
Doubly cool.
I chose a reward and went with noble armor.
Ooh, nice. What does that do?
Long road through these coats of leather, shaping and decorating them with lacquers and other ornaments. When wearing the noble armor and at an encounter, you receive 1 free encounter advantage bonus die. Additionally, your valor and wisdom scores enjoy a bonus of 3 as far as calculating tolerance is concerned.
That's pretty good.
I took Tough of Fiber. When you take a rest in a safe place, you recover health at a prodigious rate, whether you are hurt or simply tired. Then it goes on to a bunch of other stuff. But he's very recoverable.
Which is very good because there is, as everybody knows, there's no healing class type thing where you can give healing out like normal. Once you choose that, you'll go to the next thing and you'll spend your experience. And certain things have certain amounts. So you'll have to just choose which one, is there and which one will work and what you want to improve. Certain amounts cost certain skills and stuff cost certain amounts based on how many points you got in there. You can choose new ones or you can increase ones that you've already gotten.
Couple of quick notes. The ones that you can see there's a series of black pips or white ones. Black ones are the number of additional dice that you get to contribute to that. Most of the mechanics in the game are rolling a single d12 and a variable number from 0 to 6 additional dice. The d12 is it's actually a 0 to 11 with like an automatic success symbol as well. Mm-hmm. And then the d6s have kind of a significant success on their 6 result. So if you don't really have any skill in something, you can succeed at it. And in fact, you can tip the balance by spending a hope point and adding your skill to it. But unless you have some training in it, you can never really have incredible successes or never really have great successes, with the exception of Max's character, who has the minstreliness, so he can get great successes in riddling even if he doesn't really know how to riddle. Because of songs and stuff, I guess.
Yep.
No, I think it's actually
you can
great.
tell where my experience is going to go.
Yeah. So a typical target number is 14. So, quick, math suggests, everyone's probably here with me, that if you have 3 dice in something, you're pretty secure in hitting a target number of 14. 2 dice in it's a little bit chancy. for like an average check. Everything gets more expensive the more points you put into it, like an escalating scale. So, 3 points in something is also pretty expensive. I would strongly encourage anyone who is thinking where to put their skills to get 3 points in travel. Travel is very punishing, and you can start every single encounter fatigued if you're not good at traveling. Narratively, my character's been traveling for hundreds and hundreds of years, and she travels more than a lot of folks who live in Rivendell do, so I feel pretty confident, story-wise, putting my points there.
Okay, this is a silly question for you, Becca.
Yeah.
So I have selected my skills, and I'm looking back at my character sheet, and I see that my sword has 2 skills, and my bow has 1 skill. We never selected that. Those points are interchangeable in creation, are they? Like in the sense that I could be very skilled at short sword over bow? Because I think it automatically gave me 1 and 1.
So there's 2 weapon skill packages available to you, and you picked one of them right after cultures. That was the step where you were already on backgrounds, and we were talking about weapon skill packages.
Okay, yeah, and I picked sword over bow. So like I can't take skill points out of bow and put them in sword. Like I automatically have a little bit of skill in bow because bow is in both packages, but in the second package it's like a very lesser item.
Yeah, you're going to have a 2 and 2 ones typically.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly what I have.
Yeah, and that's not like a thing where you put those points in it. That's a package that you were given.
Okay. Darn. You see what I was reaching for there. Just didn't work.
I do.
Food has been consumed. All right, we don't have to worry about that. You can just put your points in. As everybody chose that, you go to the next thing. It should be pretty much done.
I think technically you still have to put your name on the character sheet if you haven't yet.
Yep.
Do you guys all have names for your characters yet? I know Becca does.
Of course.
I'm a keener, okay?
What was your character's name again?
Tanodis. Tanodis.
That's a cool name. My character's name is Toby Longwood.
I love it.
And you change the name, or add your name to the character sheet. The one thing, there's going to be... These character sheets can be changed and saved up to the server. Should be no problem. Especially for experience points, and you change your hope and everything. And we're going to save those to the server once everybody's done. I'm guessing everybody, once they're done, just let me know.
Jackie, how did you spell your character's name? I have to write it down as a fellowship focus.
Oh, cool. Okay, so Toby is Toby. Longwood is Longe. Woode. There's 2 E's at the end to make it Middle Earthy.
Very nice. Of course, I don't have room to write that entire name in the fellowship focus, so I'm going to have to write you just as Toby.
Okay.
Sufficiently Middle Earthy on its own.
Okay.
Toby Woody and Long Toby are good nicknames for me.
Ooh, I'm going to write down Long Toby.
Love it.
I like that. I feel like I call you that, but ironically, because you're so small.
According to my background, I have a palfrey.
Well, damn.
I don't know where to put that on the character sheet.
Down at the very bottom, if you scroll down on your character sheet, you can put it on inventory, and you can type in.
Okay, cool.
We also have to pick roles.
Correct, but I'm not there yet.
Okay.
There are equipments and stuff that we'll have to worry about encumbrance and fatigue because that does play a factor in the travel. But we can worry about that some other time, and you can actually look at it, and you can go online and change your sheets and do whatever you need to anytime you want. So when you save these up, especially as like weapons and combat ratings and damage and other things, because pretty much we're at company creation. We're going to play the actual creation of your company online. Not everybody's going to know each other. Not everybody's going to be best friends with each other, but there are certain things that you have to figure out. One of the things you have to do is you have to figure out where your safe havens, and you'll figure that out during the first story. These are places that you go and rest at. Usually, you can do at your own hometown, where you're originally from, or certain places out in the wild. Like they give examples of Lake Town or Bjorn's house or different areas. But we're going to be putting that into the story on our first episode of where you can. So don't worry about that. There's also what Becca was talking about was character focuses. I'm trying to find that in the book. I can't remember where I saw that. But it's part of creating your company, your fellowship.
154.
Is it 154? Okay.
Yeah, it's traveling companions. You get basically a role in the group. So someone has to be the scout, someone's the lookout person, someone does the hunting, finding the food, and then based on what roles you pick for those things, a random encounter happens to a different person or requires that person to make a particular role. So if Chris's character was our hunter, for example, if he did the foraging of food and the finding of exotic looking berries and interesting stuff, and we'd rely on him to be the person who brought food. And if something tragic happened, it would be his checks that would be the basis for which we starved or didn't.
Yeah. So the different roles, there's guide. It's the person in charge of making sure you're choosing the correct route, resting, supply, so on and so forth. The scout is one setting up camps, opening new trails. Huntsman is in charge of finding food out in the wild, and lookout man is in charge of keeping watch. The guide is someone that's really good in travel. Scouts is someone that's good in explore. Huntsman is good with hunting, and lookout man is good with awareness. So check out and you can just, choose whatever you plan on doing it. And you actually want to write each other's name on here. If you click on guide, you can type someone's name in. If you don't know your character name, that's fine. It's not that big of a deal right now. You can just figure out which one you want to be based on your skill package. And I don't know if anybody who's got a really good travel score, by the way.
I have 3.
Okay.
I have 4.
I also have 3.
3.
I also have 3.
All right, so
It was suggested.
all right.
It's very good. I did take 4, so if you want a guide, I'm happy to do that. If we want to mess around with these skills and tinker with them to better fit those roles too, that's fine as well.
Like I said, this is the first one. Like I said, our first session will be hey, we really need someone to have a little bit more explore. Does anybody have any points in it? Yeah, I've got 1. Can you take? And y'all can tweak your characters after the first adventure, because I want y'all to test out the system first and see what's going to work, and then go and we'll fudge some stuff, of course, to make it through the adventure without having too much problem. But I definitely want y'all to see how the mechanics work before you start changing up your character sheets too much.
Sweet.
So scouts, is anybody good explorer? Good travel?
I have 2 in Explorer.
Anybody else?
I have 1 in explore and 3 in travel.
Okay.
Same for me.
2
So
explore, 3 travel.
1 in explore, 3 travel.
all right. Who has huntsman? Who's a good hunter? Who's got hunting?
I've got 3.
Yeah, I think she has the best. I have 2 hunting.
Okay. Mizzy, I would write you down as the huntsman. Everybody else right. Just Mizzy, M-I-Z-Z-Y, as the huntsman for right now.
You don't have a character name yet, Mizzy?
Avina.
Avina? How do you spell it?
Avina.
Nice.
All right.
I see me bring back like salmon and berries.
Awareness?
It's a bear joke.
It's a favored skill, and I have 2 in it.
Okay.
I have 2 as well. It's favored. Or no, it's not. It's just
not
2.
favored.
You can have more than one person in those roles, too, by the way. That way they can back them up in case something happens.
Yeah, the only exception to that is the guide.
Sorry.
You are
I'll take it.
screwed or succeeded by
Yeah.
your guide. And sorry, which role was that?
That
Lookout man.
Lookout
Nice.
man needs awareness. Yep.
And what was your character's name, Chris? Or do you know yet?
Sig, S-I-G. It's much
Nice.
longer, but the Wild Hobbits shorten it.
That's the version we know. That's what you share with your quote friends. I trust you.
Okay, do we have someone? We have Becca's character in guide. Who took scout? Which is the
Someone who
explorer.
can explore. Did anyone have 2 in explore? I think that's our high bar right now.
I have 1 in Explore, but it is my favored.
Okay, I think we're putting you in explore. What's your character's name, Max?
Eobard Osricsson.
Oh, if it's underlined, it's favored. Mine's also 1 and underlined.
Same.
Well, we could put multiple people scouting,
Yeah.
but I think I definitely want Avina to do our hunting.
Yeah,
I
it
feel
makes
like
perfect
that's
sense.
Yeah.
necessary.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
she's
not
your best
starve.
hunter.
So, how do you spell Eobard? Is that right?
Eobard.
And then, Jackie, your character's name is Toby. I'm going to put both of you in that role just for now because I prefer to have more than one scout while we're about it. Get ambushed less often that way.
I'm the scout that delegates. He does the work.
I'm imagining Eobard like on a horse, like rounding up, like scouting out, ranging ahead, then coming back to the group, and you're like in a ditch somewhere digging up some stone that you found that like is an interesting color of shale.
I found some cool coins down here, you guys.
As long as you keep your pockets clean and they're not full of snacks, I don't think your character's the same.
They're full
It'll
of
be full of
rocks.
rocks. Yeah.
It'll be rocks this time, not snacks.
Wait, we need pocket sand. Who has the pocket sand?
Obi.
I'll have
Yeah.
pocket quartz.
Pocket quartz. It's
Oh,
the
we've
pocket
got
sand,
something.
but with years of sedentary work.
I'm not sure if it filled in because you do have armor and such in the game. One other thing we have to figure out is you're going to figure out, like I said, if you scroll down to the bottom of it, it does say sanctuaries and patron. That is going to be figured out in the first session, so don't worry about that. But your fellowship rating, is that where you're on the sheet? Don't.
At the top of the bottom sheet, there's a fellowship and a circle underneath.
Yes. That's going to be your fellowship rating. And it should be the number of people in your party, which is technically going to be 6. This does go up and down. The fellowship rating, they're kind of like bonus things you can buy. Pretty much you go, hey, I want to use one of my fellowship points to do this. And you're like, the party has to agree on it. If it's worthy or not. If it's worth spending that fellowship on that. So it's kind of like, vote. And if you get outvoted, you can't use it. This is kind of how the party has to try to work together in type aspects because fellowship points are important. I didn't say anything for advancement because you haven't done anything. Look over gear. Everybody has the PDF that they can look at to choose their gear that they're going to use because it doesn't automatically put that on your sheet. Or some of it doesn't. It does have like on your basic ones, like if you chose a bow, it gives you a basic bow, so on and so forth, but it doesn't give you armor on certain things. Because armor will protect you, and headgear is important in this, guys. Called shots are important. I don't know if anybody got any armor particular, but you can click it, and you go down to armor, select gear, and it gives you the types of things you can put on there. But the biggest issue you're going to have to worry about is encumbrance. Encumbrance is a big change. It can save you or hurt you. So, of course, the bigger the thing, the more encumbrance is going to affect you. Because it drops your endurance rating down and can affect what's going on. And you can choose different types of different things because it's mostly armor and headgear. And if you have a shield, which Josh has a shield, of course he's going to choose a shield. You can actually choose if you wanted a different weapon, you can choose a different weapon. Hopefully everybody got their weapons in there.
Yeah.
Because if you don't want to carry like a dagger type thing, or if you don't want to carry a sword, say you're just going to be strictly a bow and a dagger, change that encumbrance and get rid of it to a 0 because you don't want to carry it at all. Just as an example.
I think my character will take that option and remove I don't know yet, his bow, because he's more interested in things that are very close, not inherently far away.
Yeah. And you can actually remove it and get rid of it. It'll take off. Because if you click the little check mark next to it, you don't have to change the encumbrance. You just click that check mark. That way you can still have the stat on there, but it'll get rid of your endurance because the fatigue plays a factor.
In game, I might pick up a bow or something. You never know.
Yeah, but I mean, for right now, if you're just going to use a sword and dagger, and you're still proficient with the bow, just unclick the bow, because your fatigue is technically your life, because you get damage to your fatigue, and then once you're damaged to that, then you can go wounds, and then you can die. Wounds are bad, bad, bad. I think that's about it. Your experience, you will have a total experience, and then what you get. The one thing I do like about this character sheet, it's all modifiable. And like whenever you get weary or miserable, or you get wounds, or you're wounded, you click those to make it, in there. And you can also click in, like, musical instruments. You can still choose those musical instruments, but I don't know if any of them really give any endurance information or anything on there. If you have song, you automatically get a musical instrument appropriate to your culture. So depending on what your culture is, you get it. What else? Traveling gear. That all depends on what time of year. But you want to mark in their traveling gear somewhere. And we are going to be a spring, so it's a fatigue of about 2. Not about 2, it is 2. Add Becca back, she crashed. Also remember, if you're a small-sized hero, there are certain items that you can't use. And like I says, we haven't started yet, so if there is something you want to go back and look at and change, you can. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. Or if you want to get a little bit like, oh, I didn't think that this is what that did. I'm going to go back and, change this up a little bit. That's, like I says, not that big of a deal. Just let us know. And like I says, you can upload all of this into the server.
Do you want to go over how to do the upload again, just so we don't make any mistakes there?
Yeah, what you want to do is you actually want to... Best thing to do right now is go over to the screen and click Save Character as Code and copy and paste that somewhere. That way you always have it. Because you can upload as a code, so you can do that and then go to like Word and then save, Control C, Control V. That way it's there. Just in case something happens, like maybe the server goes down permanently, we still have our character sheets.
Cool.
And then what you're going to do is everybody with me on this? Because we probably should do it all together. Okay, you're going to go over, it says Online Character Server. You're going to go to the character server where you can type in the group and password, which I've already told you. Should still be in there possibly. And then you do Save Current Character. Hopefully it saves. Hopefully this is still working.
Save character as code.
You What's the password again, Gonzo?
It
or
is.
Put it in the group?
Yeah, I'll put it in the group.
That's a good call. Sorry.
That's
just
okay.
occurred to me.
There you go. And I don't know. Not seeing. Hold on. I'm going to recreate the group.
Okay.
I'm getting an error invalid user when I try to save to group.
I am as well. Do you think it's case sensitive?
If it is, the first name is that. Try again. I just reset everything up again. Okay.
Okay, so do you want to walk us through the exact group name? So capital G Gonzo, AND space THE space no capital 1
No
Like
capital 1, no
O-N-E.
capital R. Yeah.
And those are words, not numbers in both cases?
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything's words.
Yeah, I'm in
Okay.
now. I changed the G to a capital G, and that seemed to work for me.
Okay.
I don't know.
Me too.
Hey,
Okay.
there we go.
Oh, crap.
Hey, that's not how you spell my name.
But you wrote that. You have all the power here.
And I can load everybody's character sheets. Nice.
Oh no, there's two long ones now.
Well, delete one. Just click the word delete.
Ron, who we missing? Jackie. Jackie's character is not finished. Reload it.
I see everybody.
I see everybody except for Toby's is kind of messed up still. Undefined class and whatchamacallit. And then there should be a chat with your group. Everybody click a chat with your group. Choose your alias. Don't know why this is not coming up. Chat not working.
Works for me.
Chat's work.
Do what?
It's working for all of us.
Ah, I do not see it. I wonder if I have to make
Consider-
a character.
Closing it and opening the chat log again.
Ah, there we go. All right, so we're not going to, of course, be using the chat unless, like, there's something you want to tell to somebody while somebody's talking, for the most part, because, of course, everything is there. But we should be able to use our dice roller over here on the side, which everybody will be able to see, and I will have it posted up on our screen to see what's happening, because this is where, there you go, Sig's rolling it and gives the score. This is going to be basic. What's going to happen? Like the enemy is rolling, I'll roll. They're not weary. They're going to use a feat die, and ooh, that goes automatically. There we go. Type thing. So everybody can see the rolls. That's something I want to make sure everybody has the ability to do, is see other people's rolls. We'll go about this a little bit better whenever we, get into the game of how these roles are doing it. But that's pretty much going to be. We'll come back to the same character server and do everything there. Other than that, like I said, your hometowns and all that other stuff is going to be different. What's going to be coming about. The beginning story is going to be all of that information. So we'll be coming with that. Does anybody have any questions right off the bat?
It's kind of ominous that my first roll was the Eye of Sauron, but okay.
Better here than next time.
So with that, guys, that is going to be our end of our start of session 0, where everybody's made their characters. Everybody go around and tell me your name and what your character name is. That way people can kind of do that, because we're going to try to use character names as much as possible instead of everybody's real name. So, Becca.
So my name is Rebecca, and my character's name is Tanotus.
Jackie.
I'm Jacqueline Niebergall, and my character's name is Toby Longwood.
Okay. Max?
I'm Max, and I am Eobard Osricsson.
Mizzy?
Hi, I'm Mizzy. I'm going to be Avina the Quiet.
And Chris?
Hi, I'm Chris Miller. My character's name is Sig.
And Josh?
I'm Josh, and I am playing Braun.
Guys, we're gonna, when we do our next episode, we will start up. It will be our prologue, pretty much, or not. Our episode 0.5, if you want to say, to get everything going. It'll be where we try to figure out what's going to happen, make sure people like their character sheets, and do any changes. Other than that, for More Than Dice and all of my friends on here, thanks for listening. And let's get that outro music going. Everybody sing and dance. Come on.
I'm ready to assume it's ramble on. Like
You're
the
gonna
people
ramble.
talking about
Either
the
of
one
those
ring.
skills.
Everybody's gonna ramble. We always ramble during the outro
I
music.
come from the land of the ice and snow, where the midnight sun and the hot springs flow.